Hi there, I'm Karen from KarenTurpin.com. I'm an abundance activator and money mentor to spiritual women and female entrepreneurs. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why taking massive action or massive action steps may not be the best way for you to manifest more money in your life or to create a successful business. Now, we know that lots of coaches and bro marketers talk about taking massive action or massive action steps. Now, I've tried that. It didn't work for me, and it didn't work for many of my clients either. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the psychology of why this is. I won't get too geeky. I'm also going to talk about the energetics of this just a little bit as well. So we can get really inspired. We might have, a vision in meditation or an intuitive hit or a download or something that we could create. Maybe even an intuitive hit about what is our soul purpose and what we're here to do. And we can say, right, that's it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to put this thing out there. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go all in and make this happen. But firstly, do we ever take those action steps? And if we do, when do we do them? Do we do them tomorrow? Do we start on Monday? Do we leave it until the first of the month? Already, procrastination is stepping in, even though we've had this massive intuitive hit. Feels so in alignment for us. And yet we sometimes seem pretty paralyzed to take those steps forward. Have you found that? I certainly have. Lots of my clients have too. So now we know that in order to get a different outcome, we have to do something different. We can't expect things to change unless we change first. And that change obviously has to come from the inside. Now, visioning is very important. We put our energy into that vision that we see of our success or of us manifesting the money or living the life that we really want. And we put a lot of energy sometimes into that vision. Now, that vision is a future version of ourselves. When we feed it energy through the visioning process, it's as if we draw it towards us and we can step into that reality. Now, that sounds great on an energetic level. Very important to do that. However, what many spiritual women miss is the fact that we can't really live in that vision and expect it to be made manifest in this 3D world. We have to be the ones to take the action steps in the physical. For spiritual women, spiritual people in general, that is often the hard part. We can't do that. Now, we have to take these action steps that will change our life. Should we take massive action or should we take baby steps? Well, what we need to do is take consistent, unconflicted action steps. I'm going to explain a little bit more about what that really means, but it basically means doing something consistently rather than doing nothing, which is what many of us do with these visions. Now, unconflicted action, that's the important part of this, because when you're in conflict with yourself, your inner self, and with your goals, you will be stuck, not moving forward. So what do I mean by that? Well, first, you need a goal so that you can tell your mind what it is that you really want and where you're going, where you're headed. You may have heard me talk about this before. I've used the example of getting in your car or getting on a train and knowing where you're headed. That goal is very important. You need that. Now, you would think that you could just tell your mind, right, well, this is my vision. That's the goal. Now, let's head there. You would presume that your mind would do everything it can to help you achieve your goal. And it kind of will eventually. But first, there's a checklist of things that your mind is going to go through because its job is to keep you safe, first and foremost. And if the things that it thinks you want, this success or this money, if it thinks that that is a threat to your survival in any way, if there's fear around that, around your success, or fear around having a lot of money, which sounds strange, but it's very common, well, then your mind won't help. It will kind of shut down, in a sense, shuts down even the prefrontal cortex, which makes the decision making and the planning part of your business very difficult to do. If there's fear, if there's some kind of inner conflict. So if you tell your mind your goal, it's like coordinates on a GPS. But if you don't really believe that you can achieve that, then your mind won't get on board and help you to get there. If you're not really committed to achieving that goal, it also won't help you get there. It doesn't motivate you. You have to motivate it. So there's a whole load of conflict already going on there. Now, your prefrontal cortex is responsible for your creativity, your planning steps, your innovation, also your intuition. The downloads come through the prefrontal cortex. It's also very important in decision making. So when you decide that you are going to do this in your business, or you are going to put yourself out there in a certain way, that's all happening in the prefrontal cortex. But if there's fear there, if there's doubt there, you're already stuffing up the whole mechanism. So let's look at the risks and the rewards involved in you achieving your goal, because that's the important part that the prefrontal cortex is going to be looking at. So you can think you've made a decision to go ahead, but unless you have all the other parts of the brain on board with this, you will be putting the brakes on and you won't even know that you're doing it. This is why it can get so frustrating when you feel like you're not getting ahead and you should be by now. Could be why you've never achieved your goals in the past. You know, it feels as if you're completely stuck, right? So how do we bypass this or get these other parts of the brain on board? Well, here's a few tips how you can do that. Firstly, why do you want that goal? Why is it important to you? So say you want a successful business, or you want to manifest a lot of money. That's the examples I'm using for this. Why do you want that? Why is it important to you? Now, if you know it's going to be hard, with lots of ups and downs, lots of lessons, sometimes some failures in there, sometimes you have to go back and start something all over again, would you still want to do it, even though you know it's going to be hard? And why do you want to do it? This is really important, because if your big why, they call it, if your big why is not strong enough, this part of the brain that you check in with first might opt out. It's like, well, you don't really want it enough. You're not really bothered. You don't seem very committed. You don't even believe that you can actually do it. So there's no incentive there for it to get locked on to your vision and get involved in it, is there? So you kind of got to really want this. Not just say you want it, but really want it from deep within you. So now we move to another part of the brain. This other part of the brain gets involved with, and it's the part that's responsible for your long-term memory. So it asks you now, this is all going on in a flash, in a moment, right? It's not a process that you sit through particularly. So this long-term memory part of your brain says, okay, well, what memories do you have regarding lots of money or people with lots of money? What long-term memories do you have regarding businesses? So it will go back now. This is all part of the subconscious mind. It's going to go back to childhood, maybe early teens as well. And Everything is stored in your subconscious mind. So it's going to scan out that environment of what you've downloaded in there based upon your experiences of life. So maybe you knew people, friends, family friends, or neighbors, or maybe it was your family who had a business that failed. You went bankrupt and lost everything. Now, for a small child, that would be a very scary situation. There may be fear there. You may have heard your parents discussing, what are we going to do? We're going to lose the roof over our head, can't put food on the table. All of these things will have been absorbed by your subconscious mind. They still might be in there. Maybe you got it drilled into you that you get a good education, you get a job and you hold on to it. Maybe you picked up the belief that being in business for yourself is risky. Maybe you have a belief that it's really, really difficult to create a successful business, really hard to make money. Maybe you have a belief that you can't have money and love. Maybe you saw someone become successful, have lots of money, and then their marriage fell apart. There's all of these kind of things that may be going on in your subconscious mind that you don't really realize are there until you start working on your money blocks, of course. So maybe you want to make a lot of money. Maybe you want to have business success, but you think that all rich people are greedy or bad people. A lot of people believe that having a lot of money means that you can't be spiritual, or that you're not connected to the divine if you have lots of money. There's a whole range of these limiting beliefs around money that we have and we hold on to. But these are conflicting beliefs towards your goal quite often. So if you have these conflicting beliefs, you literally won't be able to move forward until you identify them and clear them. They will stop you in your tracks every time. Because, let's be honest, if you have a belief that, rich people are all selfish, greedy people, well, really, you don't want to be a selfish, greedy person, do you? Therefore, your mind believes that it's protecting you from becoming a selfish, greedy person by not allowing you to become rich. Do you see how that works? And that's the conflict in your mind. As soon as there's a conflict there, your brain, your mind will put the brakes on and not let you move forward. Now, there's an emotional aspect to this as well. If you have a lot of negative emotions and feelings attached to your goal, then you will sabotage yourself, because your mind will move you towards pleasure, but it won't move you towards pain. It will move you away from pain, in fact. So if you have a belief that running your own successful business is going to be really hard work, there's going to be massive sacrifices to that, well, that all represents pain, right? So your mind will keep you away from that. It will sabotage your action steps that could move you towards creating a successful business, and it will fully believe that it is serving you by keeping you safe in this way. So the mind will move you towards pleasure. It will move you away from pain. Again, if you fear that by having lots of money, you'll lose your friends or lose your partner, husband, spouse, if you get rich, will your family still love you? If you've got any of those emotional, subconscious limiting beliefs, then you will sabotage your attempt to manifest more money or to grow or create a successful business. So there's the conflict, right? If you're in conflict internally, it's like your mind freezes and stops you going forward. And it literally can't take any action steps. It can't plan, and it can't decision make either. It's like that whole prefrontal cortex is blocked and stuck. Interestingly, it can also block your intuition, your ability to channel, feelings of empathy. All of those things can be blocked when you're in that freeze state from being overwhelmed, actually. Because the next thing is that when we think about building or creating a successful business, our mind often then goes into overdrive. And it starts to think about all the things that we have to do. Oh, I've got to build a website. I've got to do my social media. I've got to build my course. I've got to get some photo shoot. I've got to get my logo. I've got to, all these things that I've got to do. It's a massive list. And even that in itself is overwhelming. If your decision making and your planning part of your brain is already conflicted and under challenge, how could it possibly move you forward on this really, really long list of things that you now need to do? So you're trying to do too much. Massive action means you're doing an awful lot. Massive action. What about if you try baby steps? What if you do little by little? What about taking 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps each week, 1 step each day in the direction of your goal? Because over the period of a few weeks, months, or a year, you've gone a long way forward. The key point here is to take consistent, unconflicted steps forward. That's how you build a successful business without going into overwhelm, without burning out, all of the things that you may have done in the past before. So instead, just pick 2 or 3 things each week and do it consistently. Step by step, keep moving forward. So what to do? Here's a list to get over these difficulties and to get out of the pattern or habit of having a beautiful idea and not being able to move forward on it, which is really common. So firstly, decide what you really want to do, what you really want to create. Get the vision cemented in a sense so that you can really see what it is and you can feel into it. And then ask yourself, why is this important to me? Why do I want to do this? And it needs to be a big why, remember? Because your brain needs to get on board with a big why. Doesn't get on board with a, that could work. That's not, serious enough for your mind. It's got to be a big why, because this is my passion, because this is my purpose, because I'm really good at this thing and I want to help lots of people. Have some passion and some energy in your big why. Thirdly, what things have happened in the past that feel similar to what you're going through now? When you think of having lots of money, what things have happened in the past connected with someone or you or a family member having lots of money, having a big business? Dig into those. Those are some of your money blocks. And by the way, all of this I address in my Abundant Woman Academy. I help you go through each of these things step by step. Next thing, how do you feel about the outcome that you're trying to achieve? Do you feel that it's possible for you to be successful at that? Do you feel excited that you could be taking your message out into the world? Does it feel exciting and uplifting? Does it feel scary? If it feels scary, you need to dig into, where is this fear coming from? What's it connected to? And is there a conflict anywhere in this? Do you hold a belief that people that have big successful businesses must be horrible people? Have a look at the conflicts around those feelings coming up for you. Finally, is there too much to do on your list? Have you just made a list so long that it completely overwhelms you and shuts down your planning and decision-making part of your brain? Is that what the problem is for you? If so, break it down. And ask yourself, finally, what can you do today Can you do this step by step? Do you need to map out one thing to do each day? Most importantly is taking that consistent steps forward with no conflict, so that you feel completely aligned with what it is that you're trying to create. Move away all of the noise, all of the stuff that people try to get you on board with. You know, there's templates for this, there's apps for that, there's, you know, courses left, right, and center. Move all that away, get really clear on what you want to create. Look at the conflicts within you, the money blocks within you. Get your energy in alignment so that there's no conflict. As I say, the key to this is consistent, unconflicted beliefs and actions, steps that move you forward in the direction of your goal, and how to manifest lots and lots of money, because you deserve it, you are worth it, and it's all available to you. So I hope that has been helpful to you. If you need any help and support on this, of course, that's exactly what I do. Just DM me if you want, you know, to ask how I can help you and what should you do about a problem that you have got or a place that you're stuck. Just reach out on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm Karen Turpin. On YouTube, of course, Karen Turpin as well. DM me, very open and excited to receive your messages. Well, thanks for listening. Hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.